The Witcher 2, a true classic in the gaming industry, and in today's video we're diving into the worlds of The Witcher 2, the Enhanced Edition to be specifically, which of course released in 2011. Now I know it's been around for a while, but I recently actually started playing this game and I honestly can't wait to share my thoughts on how this holds up in 2023, both in terms of gameplay mechanics and graphics. So to be honest, let's just waste no more time and let's get into The Witcher 2 in 2023. So before we get into the main information regarding how it holds up in 2023, let's talk about how you can play this game. So The Witcher 2 Enhanced Edition is available on multiple platforms, but not necessarily the platforms you would want. You can grab a copy of the game on PC, Xbox 360 and Xbox One through backwards compatibility. The game is not officially supported unfortunately on the PlayStation consoles, but of course it can be played through PC on both the Steam launcher and the GOG launcher as well. Now as for the price, it is worth mentioning that there has been of course several discounts and sales over the years for this game, and since it is an older title you can often find it at a budget friendly price point. Now prices may vary depending on the platform and the retailer, but generally you can, maybe get a copy of this game for around $5 to $15 depending on the current sales and if there are any sales. But either way, I think that's a pretty good deal. So let's get into why that is a pretty good deal. So to start things off, let's talk about the graphics. Now considering the game's age, I must say the visuals still hold up remarkably well. The attention to detail in the environments is very impressive, with the forests, bustling towns and dark dungeons that really creates an immersive experience. Now, character models are well designed and expressive, capturing the essence of each character's personality. Facial animations and textures, while not as good as some newer games such as The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, are still quite good, particularly for the 2011 release dates. Now, lighting and shadow effects add depth and atmosphere to the game's world. During combat, sparks fly and swords clash everywhere, creating what I believe is a very visually engaging experience. The Witcher 2 Enhanced Edition might not compete with the latest AAA titles in terms of pure graphical fidelity, but it's certainly a testament to the skill and artistry of the developers. Whilst not the most outstanding in terms of graphics, I think it is really nice, so definitely wouldn't be too concerned about the game looking like an absolute potato, since it really doesn't. The graphics actually look decent, and for a 2023 game I think it holds up just fine. Of course it's nothing like The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, but you can't expect that, and I do think that for a 2011 game you can't expect much else. I think they're really nice, and they're definitely something that I'd be happy to look at. I don't just want to turn away as soon as I see them. They're absolutely fine to look at and they work well enough for the game. So now we've talked about the graphics, let's delve into the actual gameplay mechanics for The Witcher 2 Enhanced Edition. So The Witcher 2 maintains the series' reputation for delivering an engaging and also challenging experience if that's what you want. The combat system strikes a balance between action and strategy, requiring precise timing, dodging and also blocking. Each sword swing feels very weighty and you can sense the impact of Geralt's strike. It is a refreshing departure from the hack and slash approach seen in many other games. Now one aspect I do really appreciate is the deep alchemy and crafting system. Gathering herbs, brewing potions and creating powerful bombs definitely adds an extra layer of immersion. It allows you to prepare for battle strategically, enhancing, your chances of success. The skill tree system also offers a diverse option for character development, allowing you to tailor Geralt's abilities to your actual playstyle. So now let's talk about the game's overall narrative and storyline, and I do think it is really quite impressive. The Witcher 2 takes place in the morally complex and politically driven world of Temeria. The game's story revolves, of course, around Geralt, a renowned monster hunter and the central protagonist of the entire series. Geralt finds himself entangled in a web of conspiracies and conflicts as he navigates through the land torn apart by war. The game's narrative is heavily influenced by player choice, presenting you with decisions that have far-reaching consequences. These choices not only shape the immediate outcome of events, but also impacts the relationships with other characters and even determine the overall direction of the story. It's a game that immerses you in a morally grey world where every decision definitely carries some weight. So now let's talk about the characters. So it does introduce a diverse cast of characters, each with their own ambitions, motivations, and unique stories. Characters really do range from kings to bandits and dwarven warriors. The game's characters are well written and multi-dimensional as well. Really impressive stuff there. Now Geralt himself is a complex protagonist grappling with his own identity and searching for answers about his past as you progress through the game. You'll forge alliances, make enemies, and even develop romantic relationships along the way. Your choices and actions will have a profound impact on these relationships, shaping the story's trajectory and also the outcomes. Now, one of the standout features of The Witcher 2 is its branching narrative. The game presents you with choices that significantly alter the course of the story. Now, these decisions aren't simply black and white. They often involve complex moral dilemmas where there are no clear-cut right or wrong answers. The consequences of your choices can lead to entirely different storylines and outcomes. This branching narrative structure adds replayability and encourages multiple playthroughs to uncover the various possibilities and experience the full depth of the game's narrative. Now, it also explores a range of thought-provoking themes. It delves into topics such as politics and the consequences of war, and the game's narrative definitely tackles very complex issues. As Geralt, you are going to find yourself caught between conflicting factions, attempting to navigate the treacherous landscape while staying true to your own values, and that's the overall storyline. It's really good, and definitely one of the positives regarding The Witcher 2. So now let's talk about the general world design of The Witcher 2. So while not a fully open world experience, The Witcher 2 still offers a meticulously crafted world. The game is divided into several distinct regions, each with its own storyline and unique atmosphere, from the towering forests to the war-torn cities. Each location really feels handcrafted and immersive. The world design emphasizes quality over quantity. Though the game's scope is more contained compared to its sequel, the attention to detail is really impressive. The cities are bustling with life, with NPCs going about their daily routines, and the wilderness is teeming with wildlife and hidden secrets. The Witcher 2 world really feels alive and organic, immersing you in its rich lore and history. It is important to note that the world design in The Witcher 2 is more linear than in The Witcher 3. The story progression guides you through specific areas, offering a focused narrative experience. So while you won't have a complete freedom to explore every nook and cranny, the trade-off is a more tightly woven and impactful storyline, which you might not always get with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. So there you go, there we have gone over of course, the open world, not completely open world, but the, overall world design of the game. We've gone over the characters, we've gone over the storyline, we have also gone over the overall gameplay mechanics and the graphics of the game as well, and those are pretty much all positives, or as positive as they can be for, a 12-year-old game. But now let's talk about the main negatives that could be the real drawbacks when it comes to playing The Witcher 2 in 2023, and one of those is the technical issues. So one of the really notable drawbacks of The Witcher 2, particularly with the Enhanced Edition, is the presence of technical issues. While the game has received several updates and patches since its release, chances are you are still going to encounter occasional bugs, glitches, or actually performance issues, particularly over on PC. These technical issues can disrupt the immersion and really impact the overall experience, and I have really had that myself. Another negative is there is a pretty steep learning curve actually, so you might find it challenging that there is, quite a steep learning curve. The Witcher 2 features intricate combat mechanics, alchemy systems, and a vast array of choices that can have a significant consequence. I do find this game to be a bit more tricky to learn than The Witcher 3, but if you were fine with learning The Witcher 3's mechanics, then you really will have, no issues with The Witcher 2. But if you've never played a Witcher game before, then it is going to be a pretty steep learning curve in my opinion. So the next negative is that the open world is pretty limited. So whilst it is beautifully crafted, it is important to note that it isn't entirely open world like The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. If you are looking for a completely open world game, then The Witcher 2 is definitely not the game for you. But to be honest, in terms of negatives, that's pretty much it. The main one really is the technical issues with the game. Everything else really is just the genre of game. That's the type of game it is, and that's how the game was designed. They're not really negatives, that's just what the game is. So for me personally, I would like a fully open world game. I love open world games, but that's not what The Witcher 2 is, and that's not what it was designed to be. So I can't really complain. That's not really a negative. I did put it under that, but I shouldn't really, since it's not a negative. If you prefer, you know, linear story games where it's just focused on the pure story, then you're going to love The Witcher 2. Now in terms of graphics, yeah, you could put them as a negative, but I think for 2011, you really can't complain. But now let's talk about the final question, and that is whether the game is worth playing in 2023 or worth buying in 2023. And well, it depends on what you are looking for in a game. If you are a fan of deep storytelling, immersive worlds and complex characters, then it is absolutely worth it. The Witcher 2 presents a captivating narrative with branching storylines that truly make your choices matter. It's a game that rewards exploration and thoughtful decision making. The combat mechanics, though not as refined as some of the more modern titles such as The Witcher 3, still offers a satisfying challenge, and the alchemy and crafting systems provide an extra layer of depth and strategy. However, if you do prioritize cutting-edge graphics or prefer an open-world experience, it is important to acknowledge that that will not be the case with The Witcher 2, and it might not meet those expectations, or well, it won't meet those expectations. It is an older game, and while the graphics hold up well considering its age, they can't compete with the latest releases. Additionally, the game's world is more focused and segmented, rather than, of course, being an expansive open-world environment like the more modern titles. Ultimately, The Witcher 2 Enhanced Edition offers a compelling and rich gaming experience, especially for those who enjoy story-driven RPGs, and of course don't mind the slightly dated visuals. If you are a fan of the Witcher series, or simply appreciate a well-crafted narrative, then it is definitely worth considering picking up The Witcher 2, particularly for the cheap prices you can find it for over on PC and also over on Xbox. Definitely something worth considering, and yeah, definitely, if you're a fan of the Witcher series, then I think it is, you know, in some ways something that you must play and shouldn't miss out on at all. But there we go, that does just about wrap up things here. That is The Witcher 2 in 2023. Now, on screen now, you're seeing a link to a video where I do this exact thing, but instead I'm talking about The Witcher 1 instead of The Witcher 2. Hit the link on the screen if you are interested in watching that.